Hey guys, how's it going today? I'm going to walk you through how I make my miniature scenes from start to finish. So, what I've got right now is an image that I took this morning. It is a combined um, HDR image from 5 bracketed shots just to make sure I got maximum dynamic range. So, I'm going to go ahead and prep this image for the miniatures. So, first up, first thing I do is look at the exposure. When Lightroom, if you have it set to automatically process the image during the photo merge, it'll give you its own settings. And sometimes they're good, sometimes they need to be tweaked a little bit. I love to bring the exposure up a little bit more, still keeping that histogram in the proper range. Uh, Looks like 2 is a good place to be. Next thing I want to do is jack up the clarity, and I usually go straight to about 50. Now, I would not normally use clarity when I'm doing standard image processing ever, but for these miniatures, it really does add that that extra bit of crispness that tends to make them pretty effective. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the vibrance up to about 30 or so. Now I might, after a few steps, I might actually come back and revisit some of these settings. I'm going to go ahead and do medium contrast on the curve, and then everything else is pretty much good. I might come back in later and affect the greens, but I will for now just pull the hue up to 50. What I've learned while exploring this process is that uh, the sort of blue greens tend to add that sort of fake effect. All right, so this image is actually ready for step 2, and that is to go over to Luminar 4, and I'm going to add the orthon effect in there. I do have some other effects in Luminar 4 that I may add depending on the image. Uh, this particular image, I think, will be fine with just the orthon effect. So we're going to go over here and grab that. I'm going to pull that up to about 20. And so you'll see just adds a little bit of almost like it makes it a little ethereal a little bit. If you look in the shadows, you can kind of see it gives this sort of softness that I found also helps making the miniatures look pretty effective. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply my changes there. And then next is the fun part. We're gonna go ahead and go over to DxOs. Let's go back over here and find that image. Here we go. We're gonna go over to DxOs Perspective Flex. All right, took it a while, but here we go. And this is a really fun part of the process. So this is the effect, the miniature effect. Um, the first thing I do is I kind of size up the image and I kind of look to see what things I want to have in focus and what things will actually be best out of focus. Uh, One of the things I do know is I really love the fall colors on this tree over here, so I'd like to keep that into view. I also like the treetops over here, and I really love these little toy excavator, and obviously the money shot I definitely want to keep. Dustin's beautiful mural in view. So I'm going to open this up a little bit and I'm going to tilt it just so. And I'm going to take a look and see how that looks. So that, I think that works pretty good. You got the full side of the building. You got the tree with that fiery red. You got a little bit of the fake looking trees over here. And you got your toy, sort of toy trucks over here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit apply. Then hit save. All right. And so let's take a look at this. All right. So that's looking pretty good. Sometimes I will come down and actually add a vignette just to kind of darken the corners a little bit. So it just draws your eye right into where the good stuff is. And you bring the midpoint out up a little bit so that the center part of the scene is nice and in your field of view. And like I said, sometimes I will come in and play with the greens again. So now that the effect is on, I am going to come in and bring that. I'm going to actually just do 50 again. And I'm also going to bring up the luminance a little bit. And there we go. I think that looks pretty good. We can actually bring our shadows up a little bit. And there we go. I think that looks pretty convincing. Anyway, it's kind of to each his own. I find that through exploration with this process, I feel like I'm learning something new every time I do it. There are quite a few other steps that I have available to apply if needed, including a little bit of noise reduction, adding a little bit of sharpness. Sometimes I might actually crop in on the image a little bit if necessary. I do find that even though I like to keep the skies in sometimes because I think it's kind of funny because you never see a sky in a miniature scene, sometimes I'll crop the sky in or out mostly so that maybe just a little bit of it shows. But anyway, it's a lot of fun, and I hope this tutorial gives at least a baseline for you guys to go and have some fun with this too. All right, take care.